Hey there! Before the video proper started, I just wanted to say, you did it! Today, which is February 12th, 2018, just a little bit around 2 weeks after the posting of the video, the important milestone was reached. The video got 200 likes. I'm still a couple hundred subscriptions shy of getting 10,000 subscribers, but that's why I put the second thing. So yeah, 200 likes in just under 2 weeks. That's not too bad. So the promise shall be kept. This spare Blaze figure I had will become a Tangle. I will start working on her right away, and that will not interrupt the commission projects I'm making. I'm just going to put one of my personal projects on hold so I can work on her and the commission project. So this isn't going to prevent people from getting their commissions sooner. But yeah, we have achieved Tangle. Now, on to the regular video. Okay, we all remember how last year Tomy released this 25th anniversary set, including the metalized versions of the classic Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails figures with their collector coins. Well, it's still a little bit longer before the next wave of non-Boom Sonic figures comes to us from Tomy, but that has not stopped them from releasing variant sets. And this is the classic, the 16-bit pixelated variant set, which is a bit of a mouthful, which comes with, again, the classic Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails, except with a new paint deco that's all, pixely. Possibly to celebrate the release of Sonic Mania, which, as we all know, had pseudo 16-bit style graphics. So the box is all just blue stuff with blurbs in like frickin', holy crap, 7 languages. That's quite the release, isn't it? Gotta go fast. Sonic the Hedgehog was born on June 23rd, 1991, and he hasn't slowed down for one moment since. He rocketed to stratospheric heights on the heels of his super speed, unflappable attitude, and true blue animal magnetism. Since his debut, Sonic has racked up over 350 million games sold or downloaded globally. Although, through the years, he added TV star as a quill in his cap. At last count, Sonic has headlined 5 popular animated series, and his star continues to rise. I'd have to debate popular animated series, but yeah, like Adventures of Sonic, Sad AM, Sonic Underground, Sonic X, and Sonic Boom, not counting the animated specials like Sonic Christmas Blast or the Night of the Werehog short film, or the Sonic Anime OVA. Yeah, if you start to count that stuff, it's been more, but yeah, that's an impressive resume for the good old mascot, one of the most iconic video game characters of all time. So let's get these guys out of the packaging and see what the toys themselves are like. So here are the 3 figures removed from their packaging, Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles. And they come with these little coins. The star is a 3D aspect. It sticks out of the sculpt. And as you can see, it has a pixelated design with little squared off edges. The coin is kind of supposed to look... It kind of reminds me of a special stage ring, or kind of like one of those red rings from the games that you're supposed to collect, except they're not red. Well, there's like the red star, but you know what I mean by a red ring. They're in all the games, all the recent games at least. They are made out of plastic. This is plastic, not metal. But it does have a very nice gold paint effect. It's very sparkly, speckly. Whoop. So it's a nicely gold painted coin, even if it's plastic instead of actual cast metal like the ones from the 25th anniversary set were. So Sonic his coin has a blue field with a red star. Tails has an orange star with an orange field with a blue star, and Knuckles has a red field with a green star. Okay, that's not color theory, but whatever. Anyway, those are just coins. Let's talk about the 3 figures themselves. Mold-wise, they are completely and utterly identical to the modern, the classic Sonic figures that we got before. Although, it seems that Tomy is trying to copy something that NECA is rather popular with, and that is adding a pixelated looking sprite artifact, because I do recall that NECA did this exact same thing with the Ninja Turtles last year. I recall it was like, I think it was like a Comic-Con exclusive set or something. But yeah, so let's take a closer look at these figures one at a time, starting of course with good old Sonic. So as you can see, in addition to adding squared off, squared off edges to look like TV pixels on the figure's belly patch, and even in his mouth, that's a nice touch. In fact, if we look closely, yeah, look at that. This is not actually carved in. It's still the regular carve-in for the mouth, but the fact that they actually pixelated his smile is a nice bit of attention to detail. And if you look real closely, you can see that although his pupils were painted square, the round sculpting of his of the pupils is still present. So this is indeed the same molding as the regular classic Sonic figure, just with a new paint job. And they even painted in the shading. So there's pixelated shadows all over the figure. Even on his gloves, which kind of make it look more like he's wearing gray gloves, or gloves with like metal highlights. And it's on his belly too. And even a little bit on his shoes. Like this is true vertical for the shoe. Like he's meant to be in a running stance. And that's how the pixels are straight. So when he's standing up, the pixels are at an angle. And even his socks have a little bit of shadow on them. Pixel shadow, but yeah, shadow. Aside from that, it's identical to the figure. It has a swivel cut head, universal shoulders, wrist swivels, universal hips, and ankle swivels. So exactly like Jazzware's classic Sonic figure, except with no waist joint. And at the height of just about 2.5 inches or so, it is not as top heavy as the Jazzware Sonic figure. As I said when I last customized one of these guys to make a Mighty the Armadillo, it is not because the head is hollow, but rather just because of the size. The failing with the Jazzware Sonic figure is since it was just a little bit taller and the legs couldn't scale up fast enough to keep up with the increasing mass of the head. So even if you didn't have articulation in the hips, like the weight of the head overrides the plastic that the legs are made out of, causing them to bend and eventually fall over. I know this because I did everything I could to make my classic Sonic figure stand, and over a period of days or weeks at most, it slowly starts to slump over until it falls. There's no making that figure stand permanently because it's just an inherent flaw of the design of the figure itself. But that is not a problem with the Tomy figure because it is just small enough that it does not pass that critical mass. So he has absolutely no problems balancing, even as I move my review stage around a bit. See? Look at that. Alright, moving on to the next one. Let's talk about Pixel Tails. It's the same story here. Pixel Tails has, it's still the exact same sculpt, as you can see from here, if the camera will focus. Hey, camera. Hey, camera. There you go. Yeah. So you can see the sculpt lines of the regular Tails figure, but the pixelated paint job within them. And the same on his belly patch and his hips. So universal hips, ankle swivels, wrist swivels, universal shoulders, and a head swivel. No articulation in the tails, even though there's a seam sculpted in here where they could have put one, but that's an awkward place. Like there's no articulation in the tails, which is fine. And the tails are actually slightly flattened on the bottom so that he can tripod. See? They're meant to look naturally flat in the ground so they can tripod him. And of course there is that pixelated shading. So yeah, it's just shading. So it's the same story. Although it's funny that Sonic's mouth is painted black while Tails is painted gray. I guess it's supposed to be like he does have black lips too, but it's kind of hidden by the white fur around them, turning them gray. And that kind of makes sense. So yeah, it's just Tails with a slightly pixely paint job. And then last but not least, the classic Knuckles figure. It is the exact same deal, although on him, because all the pixeling paint job is almost entirely outside of his Guardian mark, it almost just looks like they oversprayed. But, you know, it's still there. You can see the very sharp points of all of his pixelated edges, including in his mouth. In this case, it looks like they underpainted the mouth because the sculpting of it clearly goes outside. I never really was a big fan of painting shadows onto figures. Like, giving them a black wash so certain sculpt shows better is okay, but when you paint on shine spots and shadows, like, it's a 3D object that exists in the physical world. There are actual shadows being cast and actual shiny spots where the light is reflecting off of. So when you paint your shadows and shine spots on, you're kind of doing something redundant. And then just like, when you're looking at it, like, the light's not hitting it that way. Like, I don't know. Is that a thing? Do you guys like it when an action figure company paints shading onto their figures? Or do you just prefer them to paint them in flat colors and then let, you know, natural light add shading? Yeah, comment in the description, in the comments. Give me a comment about that, because personally, I prefer if they just keep the colors flat and true and let the fact that it's a 3D physical object cast the shadows. So, there we go. So, same as Sonic, universal shoulders and hips, wrist swivels and ankle swivels, and his head does turn. Although, I'm guessing that this is just a thing with all the classic Knuckles. The head is very loose. And I think this might have to do with the fact that Knuckles is the only one that has a mushroom cap holding his head on, while these guys actually have like a T. Like, it's still technically a mushroom cap, but on Sonic, it's like a big round button, which is why you can't remove his head. While Knuckles has like you know, one of those much shallower mushrooms, which you're able to pull the head off of as long as you soften the plastic a bit. Anyone who's dismantled figures knows what I'm talking about. So yeah, it has a result of his head being really loose on the neck, which just, it doesn't feel right, because like, then it makes the head like, it's bad enough that his dreadlocks already make it hard to turn his head without impinging on his arms and his tail, but like, it always feels like his head just isn't seated naturally. It's like a bobblehead almost. Like, really? Like, if I made a custom figure and the head did this, I would be humiliated. I think I screwed something up. And like, this is what, the third, maybe even fourth release of this mold, and it has this problem? Like, come on, Jet. Come on, Tomy. I mean, you're supposed to be better than this. But aside from that, that's the story. Alright, so that is the pixelated 3-pack, which is I'm almost certain is entirely an homage to the release of Sonic Generations. And yes, Tails does have a tendency to lean to the side, because this is straight, and you can see his tails are not touching the ground. So, yep, that might drive some people crazy, I don't know, but that is the story. Tails does this. So yeah, the sculpt is fine. If you like the classic Sonic figures, that's fine. The pixelated paint job is gimmicky, and I know some people are going to be into it, some people aren't. Personally, I did not consider this variant important enough to get. The only reason I have this 3-pack is because they were sent to me to use as custom fodder. Because yes, although it's difficult and tedious, I can indeed make customs using the classic Tomy figures. I don't remember the username of the guy who did it. I got his real name on the package he sent, but I don't remember his online persona name, so it's gonna take me some time. Hey, dude, if you're watching this, chime up in the comments so I know where to contact you about, you know, making the custom now that I have your figure. Alright. So, this has been Wake Angel 2001, and I'm gonna sign off for now.